Good evening, everybody. This is Reverend Sam with Living in Love and Grace. And I've been off for a while, so I wanted to jump back in here and share some thoughts with you guys as we kind of work our way through getting back on track for the month of February. And anyway, I'm going to read something. I know I posted it, but sometimes there are different ways of learning or receiving information. Sometimes we receive it by a visual. I'm kind of a visual person. I like to see things. Some people like to hear it. It's auditory. And then some people just like to read it. So anyway, I'm going to read this and later on here, and I wanted to share that with you. So before I get started, let's go into 1 Corinthians 13. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have, and love doesn't strut. Love doesn't have a swelled head, and it doesn't force itself on others. It isn't always me first. Love doesn't fly off the handle. Love doesn't keep score of the sins of others. Love doesn't revel when others grovel. And love takes pleasure in the flowering of truth and puts up with anything, trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps on going to the end. I like that. You just can't read that enough. Let's see here who we got on here. Kelly. How are you, Kelly? God bless you. I haven't talked to you in a minute. I've just been busy trying to get ready for wedding season. Anyway, so Kelly's one of my, I'm a fan. She loves to get on and, what do you call yourself, a rambler for Jesus or something like that. And it's a beautiful thing. One of my favorite authors. So let me go back a little bit. So for a few years, I quit reading popular Christian books. And they just come out in droves. Everybody that I know is writing a book. and I've never been one to do that. So that's just not my thing. People have asked me and said, you should write a book about that. And I'm not into that. That's too much work, having to write a book. Anyway, so I stopped for a long time. I just quit reading modern or contemporary Christian books. And I was reading my old favorites, my old Brennan Manning books. And I just kind of went back to old books from the 70s and 80s. Started reading some of the church fathers. And so I kind of wanted to take a journey backwards and then work my way up. And I stumbled onto this pastor that just really blew me away with his writings, John Pavlovitz. Incredible pastor. I don't know if he's pastoring, but he's writing. He's a writer. In 2017, he wrote this blog, and I want to read it to you because it really it's moved me. It's right where I'm at. It's just touched my heart, and so I want to read it to you, and I want you to listen to it and just feel it, just absorb it. Hopefully, I can read it with some new some new emphasis and new passion. The title of the blog was, I'm starting a new church, the church of not being horrible. I'm tired. I'm tired of professed Christians preaching a Jesus that they seem to have no interest in at all, in emulating of a religious people being a loud, loveless noise in the world while claiming to speak for God, who is supposedly love. I know the world is tired of these people, and I'm fairly certain that God is too. So I'm starting a new church, the Church of Not Being Horrible. And our mission statement is simply this: don't be horrible to people. Don't treat them as less worthy of love, respect, dignity, joy, opportunity than you are. Don't create caricatures out of them based on their skin color, their religion, their sexual orientation, the amount of money they have, the circumstances that they find themselves in. Don't seek to take away things from them that you already enjoy in abundance. Maybe your civil rights, clean water, education, marriage, access to health care. Don't tell someone's story for them about why they are poor, depressed, addicted, victimized, or alone. Let them tell their story and believe that they know it better than you do. Don't imagine that your experience of the world is everyone's experience of the world. That the ease, comfort, support, and affection you have received are universal. Don't be preoccupied with how someone experiences God, how they define family, who they love. Cultivate your faith, family, and marriage alone. The central question at any given moment in the church is, am I being horrible right now? If one concludes that they are, they endeavor to not do so. If they are unsure, they allow other people to help them see their horrible blind spots of privilege, prejudice, and ignorance, and then they respond. In other words, our sacred calling is to be decent. Here you go, Kelly. To be kind, to be compassionate, to be whatever it is that we believe this place is lacking, to be the kind of people that the world needs, and it definitely needs less horrible people these days. The Church of Not Being Horrible will gather every week to celebrate the inherent goodness of people. We'll share stories of the ways that we succeeded in being less than horrible to our families, our co-workers, and strangers. And we'll challenge ourselves to be even less horrible in the coming weeks. We will do this faithfully, repeatedly, and passionately. And hopefully we'll begin to watch the world around us gradually become less angry, less bitter, less painful, and less horrible. I'm not sure that such a religion will catch on, as being horrible seems to be trending these days among religious people. But I think it's worth a shot. I think it might alter homes and marriages and communities we're living in. If not the planet we're standing on, it might renovate our hearts, themselves so prone to being horrible, it might help us become the best version of ourselves that we are able to be. If you're interested in joining the church, you don't need to pray a magic prayer. You don't have to attend a membership class. You don't have to recite any creeds or take a test or promise to give financially. There are no theological or bureaucratic hoops to jump through. There is no conversion. There is only commencement. You simply begin right where you are in this very moment, seeking to be less horrible to the people you live with, work with, come across in the street, interact with online, and see from a distance. That's it. It might seem like a pretty low bar to set, but it's actually a beautiful and somewhat novel aspiration lately for a church. Making the world less cruel, less violent, less insulting, less horrible. If you feel like that might be a religion worthy of your days, let's have some church, friends. Let's have some church. Yes. So it's not literally talking about starting a church or a new denomination, but it's a fresh perspective, a fresh vision that we can be better. And we fight hard for it. We step into it and we embrace it. There's a lot of ministries out there that have kind of popped up. We're one of them. Online that feel a calling or a mission or a vision for something better, something more like Jesus. It doesn't matter to me. Somebody sent me something today about pursuing a better vision of Jesus by embracing the Jewish pronunciation of Jesus, Yeshua. It's another thing it's another fence we have to jump over, another hoop that we have to jump through. We need to stop being horrible people. How are we going to change everything that's going on out there? I'm sure you're like me. You get plugged into YouTube and Facebook and social media. And the only thing that's going to change people really is love. Love and grace. Somebody sent me something talking about the price of milk if we raised the minimum wage. Probably it's an issue, but it's not my issue. My calling. Should I be marching in parades? I've done that. I've marched in the Pride parades and Black Lives Matter parades, and I've spoke at Black Lives Matter gatherings. I've spoke at racial reconciliation conferences. Here's where I'm at right now. It's where my heart's at. It's helping you and I discover the beauty and the peace that comes from just opening our eyes and seeing Jesus. That's it. Somebody was talking to me this week also about, or last week, about what version of the Bible do you read? There's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of translations of the Bible. It doesn't matter. think I looked it up this week. There were 383 versions of English versions translated of the Bible. Now, I don't have 383 versions of the Bible. I have a few that I read and I really like and that speak to my heart. But I'm going to take you down that road where we can learn to discover love. Do what God's call. Here's what I'm saying. Do what God's calling you to do. Be committed to it. Be dedicated to it. Do what he's calling you to do. If he's called you like he's called Kelly Davis, get on there and do your thing. Do what God's called you to do. Read the word. Ramble on. Tell people about God's love. Do it. If he's called you to stand in as a social justice warrior, get out there and do it. Make your signs, hang your banners. Do it. I've been out there with other people, Jess and I, speaking on the Capitol steps, supporting our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. If that's what he's called you to do, do it. Hey, Bill, God bless you. So we're all sitting here trying to figure out what's next and who's going to be what and whatever. It doesn't matter to me. We haven't had a live service here at our chapel since last March. And we've chosen to make that step to protect people's safety. They can catch us online. We're getting kind of used to it. Hopefully we're getting good at it. But do what you're called to do. Be who God has called you to be and raised you up to be. If he's called you to get on the on the camera, in front of the camera or something like this, then do it. That's what he's called you to do. That's what he's called you to be. But maybe that's something that we have to take into account when we said this, when John Pavlovitz wrote this. I'm tired of professed Christians preaching a Jesus that they seem to have no interest at all in emulating. Yeah, we can preach Jesus all day long, but we can be loud, and we can also be very loveless in a world that is desperate to be loved. It's a new world. It's a new time. And I'm challenging us and encouraging us to step forward. I love preaching from a pulpit, and I'm not crazy about sitting in front of a camera here in my office on my desk. But right now, at this very moment, this is what God has called me to do and to be. So I'm here to encourage you. Let's strive. Let's work to not being horrible. That's our mission statement. Don't be horrible to people. Man, there's so much of that out there. People angry, people upset, people cutting, just not making it through each day. They just are living on this edge of pain, and they don't have to. So I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you what I simply believe. It's about Jesus. It's about this simple Middle Eastern Jewish rabbi. Didn't even have his own synagogue. He found himself 12 kind of messed up people that were his disciples. He traveled, he fed the poor, he healed the sick, he broke the rules, he ate when he wasn't supposed to eat, he drank when he wasn't supposed to eat. He probably spent evenings, nights, just talking. He sat by those crazy fishermen and he talked about God. And he talked about people. He fed 5,000 people, 4,000 people, and didn't get anything in return. He just fed them and talked to them. He went to a wedding, and his mother told him to solve the problem, so he turned the water into wine so the party could go on. Now, I don't know exactly what Jesus sounded like, talked like, but I know there was something unique about him, something unique that charges my soul, charges your heart and soul. So I just believe this. God is out there and his love is available and spilling out all over the place. All you got to do is receive it. All you got to do is do it. So, whatever God's called you to do and to be faithful to that. Be faithful to that. If he's opened up your heart to a handful of people, be faithful to that. So let's get out there, get on whatever social media you're on, and let's spread some love. People are angry. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out who to follow, who to listen to. Be that voice. Be that voice. That just says, hey, I love you. This is a good place to heal. Yeah, there's people, the politics have driven a wedge between. I know families that can't even talk to each other. Their families have so disintegrated over politics. It's not worth it. It's time for us to bow out of that argument and rise above the horrible people. Rise above the anger. Rise above the fear. Rise above all the stuff that just doesn't make sense today and won't make sense tomorrow. But I know one thing that will: Jesus' love, God's love, unconditional love, acceptance, and forgiveness. So, whatever needs to happen in your life, I'm encouraging you to be that person, be in that place. Learn how to love, learn how to experience grace and communicate grace. It's not easy. It's probably one of the hardest things in the world to do. So I'm going to read from, as I wrap this up, I'm going to read from the same book I've been reading for close to 30 years, The Forever Love Commitment. I had never even heard of that book. For a long time, I didn't hear about it. Never heard of it. Then I went to this church to serve as their pastor. So I'm looking here at my brother, Bill Clement, who attended that church. And I heard about love, complete love, total love, acceptance, and forgiveness. And we poured our heart into this church, trying to live it out every single day with new people. We tried to pour it out with people that thought we were nuts, trying to start a little church in Minnesota. We tried to live this thing that I'm going to read to you. We tried every day to live it. Some days we failed miserably. Some days we hit a home run. It's called The Forever Love Commitment. It was written by Pastor Jerry Cook, who's long since passed away. I want you to know that I am committed to you. You will never knowingly suffer at my hands. I will never say or do anything knowingly to hurt you. I will always, in every circumstance, seek to help you and support you. If you're down and I can lift you up, I'll do that. Anything that I have that you need, I will share it with you. And if need be, I'll give it to you. No matter what I find out about you, no matter what happens in the future, either good or bad, my commitment to you will never change. And there's nothing you can do about it. You don't have to respond. I love you. And that's what that means. I don't know where you're at today. I'm sure lots of things have changed over the last year. Church has definitely changed. Who we talk to, who we listen to, how we fellowship, sermons, everything's changed. Something beautiful is going to come out of this. Some beautiful things have come out of this in ways that are unbelievable. I've met people that I would never have met before. But now it's your turn. It's your turn, it's my turn to not be horrible. So let's start a new church with a new vision. We're in a world of tired people, horrible, beat up people, miserable people. So let's start a new church. The church of not being horrible. I'm up. I'm up for it. I hope you are. So we got a long way to go. It's not easy. We got a long way to grow. It's not comfortable. But I'm encouraging you to join me. Be a part of that. Listen to God. Do what He tells you to do. If He tells you to get on there like Kelly and read the Bible, do it. So if you're looking on here, there's a friend, somebody I just came to know, just I love her with all my heart, is Kelly Davis. She's on she's on a couple groups. That's where I would bump into her all day long. I just listen to her. If you want to listen to somebody that's really trying to do the right thing, listen to Kelly. She's a good sister in the Lord. So anyway, let's be the church of not being horrible. I appreciate all of you and I love you. 316, there it is, 316 whosoever's. So if you want to, get on there. And there's some good stuff there. Kelly gets on and she's does some really neat things. Just reading, rambling, talking, praying. She does it all. I love it. So I just want you to know I love you guys, care about you, and you mean a lot to me. So thank you for getting on here today. I know I'm not as disciplined as I should be when I want to get on here, and I get caught up with all kinds of other stuff, but that's just my nature of being a pastor. So, but I love you guys and I appreciate you. If you need me, wow, I want you to know that I'm always available for you, and you just got to knock on my door. Where is that? Let's see. I think I put my email in. There it is. There it is. There's my email address. Email me, messenger me, whatever you need to do that. Just be on there. And let's just be better people. Let's stop being a horrible church. Let's be a loving, caring community of people who love God, love each other, forgive each other. Yeah, that sometimes, Kelly, that's exactly what we need. And I really believe this, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. God is raising up something new, something fresh. It doesn't make sense. Little ministries on YouTube and little ministries on Facebook. Let's stay out of the drama. Let's rise above all the drama and the hate that's out there and the hurt. And let's be instruments of healing. Because it might be what somebody mentioned to me, about Kelly rambling. I'm a rambler too, Kelly. I'm a storyteller. And so it might be a word or a sentence or something you say that touches the life of somebody else out there. And they say, okay, I'm going to learn to love. Be an instrument of healing. Be an instrument of love. let God use you, and you'll be okay. So anyway, this is me, Reverend Sam from Living in Love and Grace, co-pastor at Amazing Love Sanctuary here in Arvada, Colorado. I hope you have a great evening, wonderful February. January is almost over, and we get into February, and good things happen to all of us. I love you all, and I appreciate every single one of you that were on here today. Don't forget to share this. Share it to your group, share it to your friends, share it to anybody. That's all we need. And just put it out there, and let's let people know that we love them. God bless. Have a great weekend. See you tomorrow.